What is up, YouTube? You are once again tuned in to the Pharaoh's Vessel here on YouTube. Unfortunately, I lost my Magician Girl deck profile. I accidentally deleted it somehow. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to bring you another version of it, because I've added one or two cards as well. So I thought I'd bring you a better version. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into this and take it from there. Starting off with the ladies. So first of all, first thing you need for this profile, obviously it's a Dark Magician deck, so Dark Magician Girl deck, so I run 3 copies of Dark Magician Girl. Obviously the deck's based around her and the other Magician Girls that you can get your hands on. So secondly, I run 3 copies of Kiwi Magician Girl. She's got a nice little effect that states that during either player's turn you can discard the card. Magician Girl monsters you currently control gain 300 attack and defense for each Magician Girl monster with different names on the field and in the graveyards. Until the end of this turn, spellcaster type monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, and your opponent cannot target them with card effects. It's a nice little one there. Next up, I've got 3 copies of Chocolate Magician Girl, which states that once per turn you can discard 1 spellcaster type monster, draw 1 card. Once per turn, if this card is targeted for an attack, you can target 1 spellcaster type monster in your graveyard, except for Chocolate Magician Girl, and special summon it. Then change the attack target to it, and if you do, the attacking monster's attack becomes half its original attack. It's a nice little monster there, like. Next up, I run 3 copies of Apple Magician Girl. Once per turn, if this card is targeted for an attack, you can special summon 1 level 5 or lower spellcaster type monster from your hand, then change the attack target to it, and if you do, the attacking monster's attack becomes half its current attack. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effects, you can target up to 3 other Magician Girl monsters with different names in your graveyard and add them to your hand. Coming up after her, we have 3 copies of Lemon Magician Girl, which states that once per turn you contribute 1 Magician Girl monster except for Lemon Magician Girl. Add 1 spellcaster type monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, if this card is targeted for an attack, you can special summon 1 spellcaster type monster from your hand, but its effects, if any, are negated. Then change the attack target to it, and if you do, the attacking monster's attack becomes half its current attack. And finally, 3 copies of Berry Magician Girl. As you can see, this is quite a chunky deck, because at the moment that's just the Magician Girl monsters. I haven't even thrown in the additional ones yet. But yeah, Berry Magician Girl, if this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 Magician Girl monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets this card or targets this card for an attack, you can change this card's battle position, and if you do, special summon 1 Magician Girl from your deck, except for Berry Magician Girl. So that sums it up for the Magician Girls. Moving on, next we've got the Muscles. So, for the muscle of the deck, I like to run 2 copies of Dark Magician. Obviously it's a Dark Magician Girl deck. Her effect states that she gains 300 for Dark Magicians in the graveyard, so there's an extra 600. She also gains 300 for Dark Magician of Chaos, which I run 1 of. So, you know, that's another good little thing about it. I like to run 2 copies of Magician's Rod, which allows you to add a spell trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text. So, you know, the majority of the spells and traps that contain that text actually do have Dark Magician in it as well. So, Dark Magician Girl, sorry, in it as well. So you've got a choice of 2 really. And then you've got 2 copies of Magician's Robe, which we all know what that does. It During your opponent's turn, you can discard one spell trap as a quick effect and special summon one Dark Magician from a deck. And then obviously you've got, just to finalise it, one copy of the Old Vindictive Magician. It's got the flip effect that if it flips up, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy the target. Came in handy for me once with an 8000 Cyber Dragon. I can't remember which one it was, but it was up to 8000 on its attack points, and luckily for me that was on the field and he attacked it. I flipped it up and destroyed his monster. So yeah, that's the muscle of the deck there. It's 2 Dark Magician, 1 Dark Magician to Chaos, 2 Rods, 2 Robes, and the Old Vindictive. Running up next we have the spells. Okay, so for the spells, they're mostly one-offs. Sorry, well, I'll tell a lie, they're all one-offs. I start off with Dark Magical Circle, which is good for the, obviously, getting the cards you want to the top as quick as you can. I've got 1 copy of Magician's Left Hand and 1 copy of Magician's Right Hand. Basically, you can negate the effect of your opponent's first spell card and trap card, one with one, one with the other. Next, we have a copy of Dark Magic Inheritance. Banish 2 spell cards from the graveyard. Add 1 spell trap card from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except for Dark Magical Inheritance. You can only activate 1 of them per turn. Next up we have Dark Magic Expanded, which allows you to apply the effects in sequence based on the number of Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl monsters on the field or in the graveyards. When it says graveyards, I take it means yours or your opponent's. So if you get 1, you can 1 Dark Spellcast type monster on the field gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. If you've got 2, this turn your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in response to your spell, trap cards, or effect activations. Also, spell cards, trap cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Number 3 is Dark Spellcast type monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of the turn. It's a nice little card to have. Next up I have 1 copy of Dark Burning Attack. If you control a Dark Magician Girl monster, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. I have 1 copy of Dark Burning Magic. If you control monsters whose original names are Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, destroy all cards your opponent controls. I run 1 copy of the Eye of Timaeus for the extra deck monster, which I'll get into shortly. 1 copy of Monster Reincarnation. Discard 1 card and target 1 monster in the graveyard and add it to your hand. 1 copy of Ancient Rules, which allows you to special summon 1 level 5 or higher normal monster from your hand. And 1 copy of Scapegoat. For those tight scenarios where you pull it and you've got nothing else in your defense, you can just pop that out. It's perfect. So that sums up the spell cards. Next up we've got the traps. Okay, so for the traps, I'm gonna just kind of throw them out in no particular order. Oh, I've just found 2 more spell cards that I forgot I put in there. Secret Village of the Spellcasters and Secret Sanctuary of the Spellcasters. One's a field, one's a continuous. But yeah, I've got those as well. For the traps, in no particular order, I run 1 copy of Magical Hats, 1 copy of Blast Held by a Tribute, 1 copy of Grand Horn of Heaven, 1 copy of 7 Tools of the Bandit, which has seen better days, 1 copy of Spellbinding Circle, 1 Mirror Force, 1 Sakuretsu Armor, 1 Call of the Haunted, 1 Scrap Iron Scarecrow, and just to sum it off, there's 2 copies of Dark Renewal. So, as I haven't done them, I'm going to put them on the end of this video to go with the traps, just to finish it off. But in the extra deck I run, because of the Eye of Timaeus, 1 copy of Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight, and 1 copy of Ebon High, which to bring out you need 2 level 7 spellcast type monsters. Obviously you've got the 2 Dark Magicians in there, the Dark Magician of Chaos, so you know you should be able to get it out somehow. Anyway guys, this sums up the deck. As you can see, it's quite a... It lacks on the spells and traps, but it's got it there with the monsters and their effects. Personally, I've never used the deck myself, but I've had people use it with a bit of 2-on-2 battling, dueling. I put this up with my Dark Magician deck, and we literally tore opponents apart with it. Like I said, this deck went up against our mate's Cyber Dragon deck, and literally tore an 8,000 monster apart because he was in the old Vindictive Magician. But yeah, this pretty much sums it up for this video. I've got a box opening which I'm going to do for you as well shortly, when I got my hands on a copy of the Layer of Darkness. I've still got my Ghost Trick deck to go through, and eventually when it's done I'd like to get my Gaia profile up and running shortly as well. I still have a Blue Eyes deck that needs to be done, and I'm currently in the middle of building a Red Eyes deck as well. So yeah, lots to come soon on the Pharaoh's Vessel here on YouTube. But for now, I thank you for your time, and I'll catch you again soon.